In the words of Reverend Eric Cherry, may our gathering together this morning be a blessing for one and all. May it inspire us to a year of hope and love and courageous faith. And may we walk that year in the full awareness, as often as possible, of the blessed ties that bind each to all. Amen. Blessed be. Now I need some water. I have a sermon reading from Reverend Kathleen McTeague. She's the director of the UUCSJ. As a new year dawns, everything is the same. The world bound into its history and struggles as we ourselves are bound. Yet it's also true that we stand at a threshold, a new year not yet shaped, leaving a great forming power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time this year? May we remember that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness might bloom in our world in the new year, they will be brought about by the hands, hearts, and minds of ordinary people. Frail and fallible, determined and courageous, who move forward together, shaping the world we dream of. The new year offers new ground for the seeds of our vision. May we plant our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy. So it's a brand new church year, and I am so grateful to be here with all of you this morning. I'm excited, I'm elated, I'm a bit anxious, and I'm a bit terrified. When I was preparing for this service, as I have been actually for the last couple of weeks, in my mind, I invented this amazing service and motivating and inspiring sermon that would just invoke today for all of you. In my mind. In my mind, I wanted all of these things to happen. I wanted to give you all the joys and hopes and inspirations that you may or may not be anticipating from this new church year. What is that saying that Woody Allen says? If you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. As I was writing this, I was sitting at a long card table in my empty apartment, awaiting the long-anticipated and very frustrating delivery of my furniture and all my things. And as of this writing, which was a few days ago, 6 weeks minus 2 days have gone by since I wore anything other than what was contained in my suitcase. Sleeping on a borrowed cot or next to a tiny plastic table, I hoped each night that it would be replaced by my bed. Not that I wasn't completely grateful to have that cot and table and chair, but it wasn't mine. And I longed to sprawl on a couch. That would be so fine and make me feel so much better. I signed up for PG&E, and they combined my old account somehow when I lived in El Cerrito years ago with my new one here in Union City. And it took almost a week for them and their IT folks to discover what had happened and to fix it. They kept sending my bills to El Cerrito. When I signed up for AT&T Internet and DirecTV Now, somehow they also had 2 user IDs for me and 2 passwords, and it took an hour and 15 minutes on the phone for them to finally figure out what it was that was going on. The laundry room in my complex only uses electronic cards and not quarters. So when I went to load funds onto my card, it took out of my account 3 times the amount that I asked, but it failed to put the funds on the card. Really, I quipped as I stared up into the heavens. Is there anything that's going to go right for me? I began to feel like Charlie Brown, or that there was a cloud hovering over my head. Will anything start to go right? I began to think. But that is not my covenant with you. To sit in a place that's unwell or to bury my head in the sand and pretend that all is okay. That is not my covenant with you. So when I get myself into those kinds of headspaces, I turn to videos and movies and good TV. I need a visual reminder to reclaim my energy and direct it in a better way. I have a hero in Joseph Campbell. If you're not familiar with him, he was a professor of literature who turned into a mythologist, the most learned mythologist of our time, with a perspective unlike any other, in my opinion. And one day I was sent a free showing of a documentary about him, and that day I decided to watch it, and I felt better. It was called Finding Joe, a film by Patrick Takaya Solomon. And as I then began to watch this series with Bill Moyers, also that I found is being run on Netflix because it's the 30th anniversary of when it first aired on PBS, I became even more uplifted. For as I listened to him and listened to his words, they not only resonated with me, but I felt that they would resonate with you. Find a place inside where there's joy, he says, and the joy will burn out the pain. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. I love these quotes. He gave me hope, a man who passed away over 30 years ago. He gave me motivation, courage, understanding, and yes, joy. When I am in pain, joy is missing. Joy is absent. And there are times where I want to wallow in that pain. Let's just sit here and steep in it, I think to myself sometimes. Not consciously, I don't think that way. It's not a decision that I make. But not making a change, not making a decision, that is actually a decision. I know that some of you are in pain. Some of you are grieving. Some feel confusion. Some maybe want to just bury sad feelings and move on. It is work that many of us don't want to tackle. It's too hard or too painful, or may bring up old wounds that we thought were scabbed over and healed. But as Joseph Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. There is treasure where you're most afraid to go. What we do with our lives, Campbell has been known to say, is what makes us heroes. And I will add, sheroes. We have the capacity to be our own sheroes and heroes. We don't need to look towards someone else or something else to be our heroes and sheroes. I don't believe people are looking for the meaning of life as much as they are looking for the experience of being alive. That's what Joseph Campbell says. And at the beginning of this documentary, Alan Cohen relates a Buddhist tale where a long, long time ago, there was a golden Buddha in the land and an army was coming to invade. So the villagers covered the golden Buddha with stone and mud and disguised it as anything but valuable. And the army came through, doesn't see its value, and passes on. But the people forgot that it was golden. Many years later, a young boy is praying at the foot of the statue, and a piece of mud falls off, and he notices that it's gold underneath. So the rest of the village comes and uncovers the golden Buddha and rejoices that it is there. So Cohen goes further to explain what Joseph Campbell interpreted. We are all born golden by nature, born whole, born knowing all that needs to be known. We are born connected to our bliss, he says. But then we go to school and learn that we have to be a certain way, dress a certain way. As he says, this is what boys do. This is what girls do. This is what white people do. This is what black people do. And we go and we learn that. And we develop our own casings of stone so that by the time we're 4 or 5 years old, we have our own stone casings surrounding us. But then something happens. An accident, a divorce, a job loss, a death of a loved one, that knocks off a bit of that stone or mud, and we can see that there's gold underneath. And then when you see the gold, and you know that there is more gold underneath, you can then become your own shiro or hero. And the possibilities seem endless. I think you all are at that moment of seeing a tiny, shiny piece of gold underneath yourselves. You have come to a moment where you can become your own shiros and heroes. I can't do it for you, but I can be here with you. I can guide you with what I know. I can be alongside of you as you discover your own heroic worth and merit. That is part of my covenant with you. This spiritual community has become covered with grief and sadness, and yet still there is joy. You still have joy. The water communion this morning showed in a way how connected you all are to each other, how you come together to covenant with one another. And this water can metaphorically not only connect you, but cleanse you. At the beginning of this new church year, let us use this water to cleanse and to heal. Let us know deep inside ourselves that there is much work to do. Yes, there's no doubt about that. Yet in doing this work, we combine all of our talents together towards a common goal. One of my duties here with you these next 2 years is to help you find those golden nuggets within yourselves, individually and as a community. Each one of you has a golden casing that's maybe been covered over for many years. We can each discover which one of our golden covers and show each other what it is that makes us most shine. That is part of being a community, of being a spiritual community. We are here for each other, connected as the waters flow together, connected as we shine the golden nuggets that reside within each and every one of us. In 2 weeks, we will enter into a covenant together, consenting on how we will be with one another and how we will treat one another. I feel honored to be a part of this congregation with all of you. I feel excited and expectant of the possibilities that lie before us. There will be work to do. It may not always be easy, and you may not always agree with me, or I with you. That's not the point, though. That's not the goal. The goal is exposing all the gold that lies within you, to discern the goals of this congregation, the talents that lie within it, the mission you wish to accomplish, and the joys that you will receive when you find that settled minister that will be the best fit for you. There is much work to do, but it will be joyful work. And oh, by the way, all my things arrived yesterday. Follow your bliss. Your treasure awaits. May it be so. Blessed be.